Hello, everybody. This is Ashley's character, Euphemia's session 0. Super excited to have Ashley as a player. This is our first session with Ashley pre-campaign before getting into it. So yeah, this is exciting. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
So ready.
So ready. So yeah, let's dive into Euphemia's session 0 here as we move in to the somewhat smaller city of Edgefort that lies sort of nestled in the woods on the edge of a mountain that has a pretty substantial mine that your father works in. You come from a poor family. Your father works long hours and typically is away, leaving your mother, Lucetta, and your sister, Maribel, and you at home. Throughout kind of growing up with your younger sister, things have been difficult with her, as she's been fairly sickly most of her life. And your mother's mental state seems to be deteriorating more and more as time has gone on. This has led to you, now at the age of 12 in this session, needing to step up a lot and sort of take care of your sister, help run the household, and keep things going for your family, especially since your dad, Ivan, is away frequently. So we're starting off on a day. You wake up and your sister, again, you can kind of hear her coughing, looking very tired.
Like a lot.
It's pretty common to see this with her.
Yeah.
Your mother, you're not really sure where she went off to.
Again.
What does a typical day for Euphemia look like in this type of situation?
I would imagine that she gets up with Maribel and usually is, assessing the situation. She's been taking care of her sister for a while at this point, so there's a handful of just like family medicine cabinet remedies I'm sure she administers as needed for symptoms and things like that. And then, yeah, I think she would try and like make some sort of food for her and her sister if there's anything around.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of the day, if mom's not around, would be trying to keep Maribel comfortable and kind of distracted if she's sick and not feeling well. Maybe make up some games and like read some, if we have any books around, I would be reading some books. And hopefully just like trying to keep her spirits up and keeping an eye on her condition. It's a lot of caretaking,
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Definitely. I mean, some of the food probably you're one of the big responsible people who go into town, even pick up some of the food from the market and bring it back. Your dad does provide the money, but again, he's gone, typically working in the mine.
Hard work.
And leaving it to you to kind of help run things while he's away. But you hang out with your sister, play with her a little bit. She's got, again, that cough and that raspy voice as you play, but this is pretty typical. This has kind of become normal everyday life, so she still does her best to play along and kind of short spurts as she gets tired quickly. But
Yeah, and I think if I was concerned, I would try not to show it. We do the best we can to pretend things are really normal and like cheerful and fun and fine, even if it's like cold and dark and gross and I don't know when our parents are around and all of that stuff. It'd be a big effort to make her feel okay.
But as you go throughout the day, you do find your mother kind of wandering the property, not really doing much of anything in particular. She's sort of begun to mutter to herself more often, and just seems really out of it most of the time, and saying comments that don't make much sense to anybody else. Like, the eyes are watching. She heard a voice, but there's no one there. I mean, just little weird, creepy things that are a little unsettling, but her mind seems to be going.
Don't like the eyes one. That's gross.
But you go throughout the rest of the day. Sun begins to set, and your father still hasn't come home. It's getting to be about bedtime.
If Mom hasn't come in by then, I think I would try and, like, bring her inside if she'll listen to me and be like, hey, it's time to eat dinner now. You know, like, try to go find her wherever she went.
You do find her and start to guide her inside, but she seems a little agitated today.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
Just seems a little off. But you do get her inside. You get her to eat a little bit.
Okay.
You get your sister fed. You're able to eat. And you're able to get the house kind of settled for people to go to sleep that evening.
Sure.
But again, your father's not home. Who knows where he could be? It could be a late night. He could be out drinking. He could be... Who knows at this point? He's been pretty absent.
Yeah. Nighttime especially, he's avoiding the house.
It's rough, especially at night, because that's typically when your mom gets a little more stir crazy, and the agitation kind of picks up a little bit, and
sure,
her strange comments seem to increase more during the evening hours. But eventually, the sun's gone down, things start to grow quiet in the house. You're able to get Maribel into bed, kind of help your mom get into bed, and just kind of get the house settled. Not sure when your dad will be home, but you eventually are able to find yourself falling asleep as well, next to your sister.
Yeah. Be keeping an eye on her even while I'm sleeping.
Mm-hmm. That night, you begin to dream, and you've had dreams before. Sometimes the very intense, vivid dreams. But this evening, you feel like your dreams are heavier in your mind. You feel like they're even more real and vivid than you've ever experienced before. Begin to have a dream and see just flashes of these scenes displayed before you. They're not like a typical kind of like story dream. It's just like scene after scene.
Over the place.
One scene you see your mom being pulled back by a figure with a tattered black cloak. And as you try to like look at a face, there's just no face that you see there. It's just black void under the hood. And there's the long green arms with long fingernails pulling at her away. And another hooded figure with the same type of look, but this time long blue arms pulling her away as she's getting drugged down this hallway, further and further away, screaming as she goes, disappearing into the darkness at this seemingly endless hallway. Flashes then to your sister Maribel. She begins to cough and wheeze, and as she coughs more and more, you start to see blood coming out of her mouth. It continues to flow and more out her nose. She just kind of like looks at you with these sad eyes, and then blood starts to drain from her eyes as well, just blood covering her whole face. She just continues to cough and cough more, like she can't catch her breath. And then it flashes again, and you see your father hanging from a tree, motionless. Just the wind kind of moving his body. You can feel your heart beating in this dream.
Just like hammering. I would probably try to cry out to any of them, but is it like the dream where like you try to say something and nothing happens? Or...
Yeah, you try to scream out and you just feel like you have no voice in this moment.
Sure. Right.
And you're just spectating
it's a lot
these
for
events.
A 12-year-old.
Oh yeah, it's very intense for sure. But you begin to hear screams. And you
life or in the dream?
Hear the scream more and more, and you start to realize it's not in the dream.
Oh no.
You come to consciousness in your bed, in the dark of your house. And you just hear these screams of your mother across the room from you.
I would probably call out. Like, you know, I'm like shaking, sweating, heart pounding, but also would be like, you know, it's okay, we're here, you know. I would try to calm her down.
You hear the screams stop, but you just hear the floorboards like creaking, almost as if she's just standing there kind of rocking back and forth in place, just back and forth between the boards. And you hear crying.
At this point, I would not hesitate to get out of my bed probably and try to go find her and comfort her wherever she is. Like, you know, if I have to light a candle or if I'm just stumbling around, I would just try to get to her if she's so distressed.
You do usually keep a candle nearby, and as you kind of put your arms down to get up, push yourself out of bed, you feel moisture on the bed beneath you.
Okay. Yeah, I would light the candle because I need to know what's going on.
And as you light it and begin to look at your hand, it's just soaked in a red liquid. And
not good.
Get the candle lit and you turn back to the bed. And you see your sister there, lying motionless in a pool of blood. And you're just covered on it, been at one side on it as well with it.
I'd basically drop the candle and like jump on the bed and try and wake her up.
Kind of shake her a little bit, trying to get her up, and she's just limp and cold. You hear from across the room, Effie, are you real?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm checking on Maribel.
But she's just not moving.
I would, at this point, also be pretty frozen. Like, trying to process everything. Shock, like, horror, everything else. I think I would likely just start, like, crying a little bit and be like, she's not moving, and say it out loud a few times. Even though I've been taking care of everyone. Like, I definitely need my mom.
As you start saying that to your mom, she's just standing on the other side of the room, still just shaking, rocking back and forth, and sobbing. You hear her say, "She wasn't real. She wasn't real. She wasn't real," over and over and over.
What do you mean, though? Mom, she's real. She's right here.
She wasn't real. She wasn't real. And then she just screams again.
I would sit there and hold Maribel. Now I'm scared of my mom also.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not be approaching her. I would sit there and hold my sister and I guess pray to whoever that my dad is gonna come back and fix this or help or something. Because I don't know what else to do with all of my like remedies and keeping spirits up and everything. I would be at a loss.
You're just kind of sitting there holding on to your sister. Again, you're just drenched in this blood.
Yeah.
While you're kind of in that moment, why don't you give me a perception roll? Or investigation, your choice. I'll take either one. Just tell me which one you're rolling for.
Perception is wisdom, right?
Perception's wisdom, and investigation's intelligence.
Okay, I'll do perception.
Okay.
Ooh, what is a 16 plus 1 plus 2?
16 is plus 3.
So 21.
21, okay. As you're kind of observing the area, you notice just these slashes through your sister.
That's not from coughing, then.
It is not from coughing. And the bed is just soaked. You don't see a lot of blood anywhere else in the room, though. And, like, with the light of your, like, the candle you lit, just sort of dimly lit in the room, your mom does not have a single drop of blood on her either.
Okay, it's just me. Since I was next to her. I think I would be thinking about that hardcore, but also are there any tracks anywhere? Or are there any windows in our room? Does anything look broken?
Yeah, you again just scan the room. Nothing seems off, no weird footprints. Everything strange is just centered on this bed.
I would eventually, if my mom is still in the room, I would eventually say really quiet, like, I think she's dead.
And she just begins to cry and scream some more. She wasn't real. She wasn't real. And just kind of pacing out of the room.
As much as I want to correct her, I don't know that I would even think to argue in the moment. Like, too distraught.
About 10 minutes after this unfolds, you hear the front door burst open and your father run in. What happened?
I don't know. I was asleep and then I woke up and mom screamed and then I woke up and there was blood and she was like this.
And he comes over and kind of begins to move you away from your sister. Just shocked at seeing what happened in the room.
Say she's like full body shaking for sure, like trying to, clearly extremely nervous and like shocked and horrified and like she just I was asleep and then I woke up and mom said she wasn't real and I don't know what happened. She was okay when we went to bed.
He looks like really frustrated right now, but also really sad in this moment.
Right. I think for sure would be like I did everything I could. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. She was okay.
He takes a moment, just like kind of checking over your sister, realizing that she's gone. And you see him go to the front door and begin shouting. And as some other people come, he takes you by the arm and says, "Go with them," and sends you away from the house.
Oh, I know, like people in town.
Yeah, there have just been people from town.
Okay. I would definitely just go with them, like in shock and, you know,
Hmm.
sobbing.
As you walk out past, you see your mom kind of pacing again in the kitchen area.
Again. Right.
With your perception roll, though, you do notice a knife out on the counter. Clean of blood. No blood on it that you see.
Oh.
But you're taken away. Some of the people from the village try to console you a little bit. And let you spend the night somewhere else this evening.
Sure.
To get you washed up and back to bed. I don't know how well you'd sleep after that. Probably not very well.
I was just gonna say, I don't know how much sleep I would be having and be laying there in the dark, trying to figure out what happened.
The next few days kind of feel like a bit of a blur.
Sure.
Just with the shock of everything that's happened. You do end up getting taken back home after everything has been cleaned up. Your sister, they're planning to bury her soon.
Okay.
Your mom seems even more unhinged than she's ever been before, though.
Yeah. That's
much more agitated. There's even moments now that when you're left alone, she goes after you with, like, clawing at you with her fingers. And there's probably some moments that she gets some scratches in on you.
I would try not to fight her back too much. Obviously, it's my mom. But, you know, at a certain point I have to... I wouldn't want to get beat up either.
Yeah, a lot of deflecting and getting away type situation.
Yeah, I'm guessing I would spend a lot of time running out of the house.
You'd probably find it a lot more safe to be away from the house during the day.
Okay. Yeah.
And waiting to see if your father comes home, and that's when you'd probably feel more safe being home. But
yeah, how's he doing?
He definitely seems pretty shaken from everything that's happening. He seems frustrated. And after a couple days of just the continued situation with your mother, there's individuals who come and they're dressed in sort of this fine clothing, and you kind of watch as they take your mother away and put her in the back of a carriage, and your father
does any of the carriage or anything look familiar, or is it something I've never seen in town before?
This would not be a typical carriage you've seen before in town.
Okay.
But your father just kind of stands outside the house and watches as the carriage goes off with your mother.
Sure. I would be feeling some measure of relief, but at the same time, it's 2 family members in like a few days. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. He is very quiet after that.
Yeah.
And in kind of the time in between that and your sister's funeral, which would be like the next day, you learn that your mom was taken away to stay at an asylum in the central city of Heaven's Reach.
Oh, okay.
It's a asylum for people who are losing their mind, all the way up to like the criminally insane type people. As word has kind of gotten around that your mother murdered your sister.
That's the story that's going. Oh no. Okay.
That's the working theory that people have about what happened. It's hard to prove, so they're not doing anything too extreme, but she's clearly unwell, and they thought that this would be best for her to be taken away to have professional help.
Okay.
But rumors you hear as this goes on is that your mom just lost it and she killed your sister.
Right. I would try to defend her because I don't know that it's her. I would argue that Maribel was sick, even knowing that it probably wasn't that. Just because I don't want to believe that my mom did something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially to her.
So you defend, still knowing, yeah, something's off about that.
Right.
Something strange happened that night. But from there, your dad continues to work hard, leaving you alone at the house now.
Yeah.
What would you do kind of post this event happening?
I think for a while I would try to just find a new way to be normal-ish. I likely, while I'm grieving my sister and now like not having my mom around, I would definitely like kind of take care of the houses if they were still there, kind of. Just like trying to make it make sense a little bit, and still like take care of cleaning and like the gardening and all of that. I think at this point I would even still make like the medicines I was making for her, just out of habit, and keep checking on my dad and taking care of him as best I could. Definitely trying to like project that like it's gonna be okay spirit onto him.
Mm-hmm.
Since he's clearly not doing well, and like having someone else to take care of is making me feel a little bit less lost.
Yeah, and you can roll me an insight roll. Again, wisdom, if you'd like.
Okay. Oh, 5.
5. Okay. I mean, you know your father's probably upset.
Yeah.
But I mean, he sort of continues on with life as well. Kind of the same old thing. Getting everything done that he needs to. He has to work to provide. He still brings home money for you, and he just seems quiet and very focused on his work.
Yeah.
So this would go on for the foreseeable future. This kind of pattern of you taking care of the house. And is there anything else you would do as time goes on?
I would do my best to pitch in, like as soon as I have an opportunity to like work or go do something outside of the house to trade or like bring income in. I would be trying to help, because at least then maybe he doesn't have to work so hard.
Yeah. So you find work as a doctor's assistant, helping out and learning a little bit more about kind of how to mix certain remedies and some basics of some of the local fauna that can be found. But again, your dad just seems focusing on his work. He's very distant and doesn't seem to say much besides just very surface level. He's not very nurturing.
Yeah. I think at a certain point, I don't, maybe I've like heard from somebody in town or something, but like I think I would at a certain point try and find some opportunity to like go keep continuing studies or like keep doing like this healing work that I've learned about and been practicing for such a long time now. So I would be looking as I got older for ways to like travel a little bit and not be in this sad house with my weirdly distant father, and you know, like it would be hard to be around him for very long. So as I got older, I think I would get a little frustrated if he doesn't want to like meet me halfway. And at some point I would definitely want to leave because like I'm a teenager and also don't want to live here anymore.
So yeah, at 16 you kind of hear about opportunities maybe that are in Swamp's Rest, as it's close to a swamp that is known to have a lot of different plants and other things that grow there. Would you go off on your own and like not really say anything, or would you inform your father about this?
I think I would tell him.
Okay.
I would like over dinner or something one night just like awkwardly kind of blurt out that I'm leaving, like I've made plans and I'm leaving and I'm going to Swamp's Rest.
He would just look up at you as you're telling him. I know I haven't been the best father. I'm sorry for that.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry, Dad. I know it's been a lot. I can't just stay here at this house anymore. You could come too. Maybe we could start over.
I can't leave my job.
Well, I mean, hopefully, I don't think Swamp's Rest is that far, so maybe I can come back and visit sometime.
He'll get up from the table and walk over to one of the cabinets, and you hear him kind of rummaging around for some things, some clinking, and he goes and kind of tosses over a sack that clanks like it has some coin in it. Can at least provide for you still. At least for now.
Thanks, Dad. Are you gonna be okay here though?
Maybe I'll sell this place. A little big for me anyways. Hope things go well for you.
Thanks. And she'll give him a hug and be like, I love you. Still. Like, I know.
He'll hug you back. Love you too, Effie.
I think it would be good for you to sell the house.
No point in keeping it.
I'll write you letters. I can tell you about Swamp's Rest. Have you ever been there?
2 times.
Write you letters about like how all my training is going and stuff. I think I can find a job there. It sounded like there was stuff.
I'm sure you will. He just always seems pretty detached emotionally.
Yeah.
Like he's hiding his inner feelings a lot and
yeah.
Trying to look strong.
I think it makes her feel like she has to, like, fill the space big time. So it's again like a relief, but also a loss to leave.
But he'll help see you off when you leave. And you would find, as you went to Swamp's Rest, taking the journey, which would take probably a week or so, maybe a little less,
Okay.
to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You'd find work with a woman, an older woman who has an apothecary, named Electa Fade. And I think I have a picture somewhere. Let me grab it. There it is. So, you begin work with her. She's a kind older lady who is definitely willing to take you kind of under her wing and show you the ropes. She is a Kith, or an elf, basically. Kith, elf are the same thing in our world. So she's definitely well along in her life. She's lived many years.
Very experienced.
But she's able to sort of help teach you kind of an appreciation for nature and the properties that can come from it. Begin teaching you even kind of how to feel nature a little bit deeper and connect to it more. But as you are under her study, your dreams still continue. You still have nightmares and other intense dreams as these go. They've never really left you. Nothing like that one night, though, with your sister. Never quite gotten that bad. But you've had some still pretty vivid and horrifying dreams.
Yeah.
And Electa would sort of say, like, she doesn't think that's common. She doesn't think it's right if that happens. I mean, she would try to help you with different remedies, maybe to help you sleep more restfully. But they work maybe for a short period of time, but then it sort of dives right back in to the same old. And about 5 years after you start working there, when you're 21, that's when the shutter happens.
Okay.
And the world is drastically altered from that point on for you. Strange sicknesses rise. Plant life mutations and creature mutations grow. I mean, requests for different remedies just come flying in all day. And it just increases more and more as the years go by. A lot of the regular remedies that would work before too don't seem to have the same effect, or they lost potency or something. Or the mutations of everything just changed what is effective. But this would continue and continue and continue on as we go. Yes.
After the shutter, I would for sure be trying to contact my dad.
Okay. You would be able to get in contact with him. He is still working. He's still doing his thing.
Okay.
He would say that he doesn't see a big effect on him, but in his work, the mines that he works with, there's definitely a good amount of magical properties that can be with some of the materials that he mines.
Sure.
So parts of his job have become more dangerous. And he will say that he has seen people get hurt, but he's fine up to this point.
Okay. Cool. I think, like, after that initial concern, I would for sure be checking on him a little bit more, but, like, not a ton.
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm busy.
Yep. Yeah, and work definitely continues to build up more and more. But frustration probably would build as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not feeling as effective as it did before. And the world just kind of continues to feel darker and darker around you as people are dying of sicknesses that you once thought were just like nothing.
Right. I would be reading everything I could get my hands on and trying to like get in touch with other, like, if I know other like practitioners, or we can connect to other practitioners, however, even in other cities, if we can get word back and forth and like try and figure out if anybody has anything that works, or, you know, be spending a lot of time networking, I guess, trying to get information.
This goes on for a while, but eventually travel between cities even becomes more difficult. Magical communication starts to become more dangerous, and the roads are dangerous. The wild already was pretty dangerous, and going out into the wilderness, going out into the swamp, any of that was already very dangerous. But now even the roads are starting to become dangerous for people to travel. So communication becomes much more difficult.
Yeah.
And hope of solutions would probably begin to fade from people more and more, as some people just flee entirely from the world that you live in, saying there's no hope here, and they just leave.
Yeah. Yeah, all of these patients that I can't treat are just making me think of Maribel and how I couldn't help her. So my desperation would definitely increase the more that things get difficult, and hence frustration trying to fix things.
But one day, Electa would talk to you and just, we're having so many difficulties right now. I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, it's been 5 years since the shutter, and everything gets worse.
There's gotta be an answer out there somewhere for why this is happening. Why nothing's working anymore. I mean, did the one event just turn everything so backwards? But like, we should be able to figure out new formulas by now.
Feels like the world is against us now.
I wish I had more. I wish I knew what else to do. I've tried every other rework of all of these different things, and it's like it's not even the same plants anymore.
If only there was a way to right the world. I don't know how to do that, but...
Do you think that's even possible?
I've heard people say they are trying to. There's those monster hunters trying to kill everything that's dangerous in the world. Don't know. This is a big place.
Tell people here, then like, should I try to find somewhere that has more answers?
Think you have a better chance than I do of finding something.
No use just sitting here mixing potions, hoping that they'll work when nothing's been working for the last 5 years. Like, what we're doing now isn't working. So maybe I need to just find something or someone or somewhere that has a new opportunity to learn or to figure this out.
I mean, those monster hunters go out into the world and explore the deepest corners of it. Maybe you can join up with them and help keep them alive in their journeys and discover something there.
I'm sure they could certainly use some kind of medical attention on the road. And maybe those far corners are the places that we haven't been able to go. Like, maybe that's where the answers are.
Perhaps. I don't know how much more we can do. I can barely go out into the swamp now. But something.
You have to promise me, if I leave, you're not going to go out there by yourself.
I promise.
Someone has to run this place.
I promise. I will keep it here for you.
Appreciate that. You know, you're the only one I trust to not make this place a total shambles.
Well, it's a good thing I trust you. Probably the most to find the answers.
I hope that trust is warranted.
You're one of the brightest girls I've ever met.
Oh.
Gifted.
Definitely be like beaming a little bit, like some acknowledgement. And I think that makes my choice then. I should prepare for the next batch of hunters that comes by and join them.
I hear there are many groups just north of us in Heaven's Reach that you could potentially join with.
Maybe that's the best way to start then, is to go there.
Maybe the next caravan that goes, you can go there. You can help fund the protection fees. See what you find. And again, I will keep this place here. I'll watch over it.
I know you can't heal everybody that comes in, but they're still gonna need you.
I'll do what I can. You'll always have a place here.
Thank you. I'll try and contact you if I can at some point, or at least send you a note. Especially if I learn anything.
Well, we'll be worried if I don't hear from you.
I will. I guess if you hear from my dad, you just let him know where I went to.
Of course. So she would help see you off, and on your way, the next time a caravan is coming through that's going north, Heaven's Reach, to see what this road of monster hunting might hold for you.
Career change at 26.
There you go. But yeah, that's where we'll end your session 0. And for you, currently, I'll see you on Sunday. But this is going to be playing like in the middle of the campaign, so
right.
Weird time stuff. Hope everyone enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and let's hope that Euphemia's story isn't as sad as this story had been today so far, thus far in the campaign. But thank you. See you later.